Be happy, be healthy, be your best. Be your best.
Welcome to another episode of Be Happy, Be Healthy, Be Your Best. I just wanted to take a few seconds and express appreciation for your spending the time with us. I consider us to be a growing family on the podcast, and I'm looking forward to the days ahead when it gets bigger and bigger with more and more people, because I really want to help people be educated about their health. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions. They look on Google and they get different opinions of different things and don't really quite know what the ring of truth is. And so I just feel like it's really valuable to bring research to this podcast community and just really just let you know that I appreciate the time that you spend with us. It really means a lot to me. That being said, I wanted to share that in this episode, a lot of people have concepts about what they consider to be the phases of how they would reestablish their health. And a lot of them feel like the road to clearing their health and healing is to detox, rebuild, restructure, and restore. And while that may sound really something that's positive, and it is, there's actually some crucial steps before those four things that people need to take. So if you're thinking of embarking on getting your body healthier, and a lot of times it's good to think about it this time of year because we're going into holiday seasons for a lot of people. And a lot of times I jokingly say that people's appointments in January are post-holiday damage control. And they usually laugh, but there is some truth in it. And then there's other people that want to start earlier, September, October, fall, and just kind of go into the winter season with a more healthy goal and actually achieving something through those months where there can be things that affect the health negatively, to come out on the other side with a feeling of accomplishment, like they really have gotten their body on a health road to recovery, improvement, even before spring. And then they feel like they have a head start when spring starts. My daughter and I were just talking about last night about signing up for the Boulder again as a goal, the end of May, and starting right now to implement some changes that we've been wanting to make. So I'm right there with you, no matter what your health path is, what your health journey is, whatever improvements you want to make. So back to this list: detox, rebuild, regulate, restore. What would come before that? Well, let's go back to the Boulder. If I'm going to run the Boulder in May, and actually at this point I do a fast walk jog. My daughter runs. She's a fast runner. But me, I do a fast walk jog. Anyway, even if I'm going to do that by the end of May, what comes before it? Preparation, training, things that are going to make it where my performance during that is something that brings me a sense of satisfaction and achievement, right? Well, it's the same thing when you're improving your health. You can't just jump right into detox. Just jumping right into detox, unless you have a very, very healthy, clean, already an optimal shaped body, can have some really negative side effects. So there's this important step of preparation. What are some of the things? I'm just going to cover the highlights tonight, okay? There's other things that we'll talk about in the future, but for now, one of them is you have to prioritize regular bowel movements. You've got to clean out the colon. You've got to get the colon functioning properly. And why? Because toxins can build up in the colon, even under normal circumstances, and then be absorbed into the bloodstream. So think about what would happen if you started a detox of other parts of the body and all of that stuff ended up in the colon and it wasn't moving properly and it all got reabsorbed into the bloodstream. You could have some pretty just yucky side effects. Wouldn't be feeling very good. It wouldn't be an optimal situation. So prioritizing regular bowel movements, doing some research on supplementation, eating habits, things that can really help before a detox are really important. We help our clients in the office with that regularly. Then the next thing, you want to stimulate the lymphatic system. Now, why is that? Well, the lymphatic system, the lymph surrounds pretty much every cell in the body. And it has a really important function. It has to take nutrients to cells and take away waste. Well, what do you think would happen if you started a detox and you had sluggish lymphatics? What would the ability be of that system to get nutrients properly into the cells to support your detox, and at the same time take away things that need to go to the colon, to the kidneys, to the sweat glands in order to exit the body? So now put the two together. If you had sluggish bowels and sluggish lymphatics and went to a detox, stepped right in, right? Going to do this. Results wouldn't be optimal. How would you feel going through it? Maybe not so great. Third thing is that the lymphatics don't have a pump, okay? Circulatory system, obviously you have your heart, pumps all day. You don't even think about it, just does it, right? Lymphatics don't have a pump. So what are you going to do to support the lymphatic system? It needs minerals, it needs really good hydration, and it needs movement. So walking, stretching, yoga, rebounding on a mini rebounder where you are jumping up and down and having the G-force. What that does is all the valves that are in the lymphatic system, they kind of go bloop, 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 and that moves the lymphatics. Now you start to get an efficient carrying of the nutrients and also a carrying away of those waste products that you want to get rid of. And then once you start a detox program, there's going to be an extra load. There's going to be extra things that need to be cleaned out of the body. So now if you have a good colon system and a good lymphatic system, your chances of success with that detox program, as well as not having reactions that you don't want, your chances are a lot better, that those chances of negative aspects minimize. So hydration with proper electrolytes is really crucial. It's imperative. Minerals are so important. You kind of got to think of them like gas to an engine, okay? If the lymphatics don't have the fuel of minerals, then they just are not going to function very well. So having the combination of some really good electrolytes with really good clean hydration is just phenomenal for the lymphatics. The other thing is that the colon that we talked about before, it also needs enough hydration in order to have water attracted to it in order to have proper elimination. So now you have a win-win. The other thing that you need to do is you've got to support your kidneys and your liver. Those two things pre-detox are really, really important. Now, what are some of the things that you can do to support them? And I'm just talking off the top of my head a few. There's others that we can talk about more in the future, but plenty of hydration again. The kidneys need a lot of good, solid, clean hydration in order to filter the blood and take away waste. And then also lemon water. Lemon water can assist the kidneys and the liver. The liver in particular loves a nice warm glass of water in the morning with some lemon in it. Warm or hot doesn't tend to work as well if it's really, really cold. And then there are herbs that you can use. There's herbs like dandelion root, nettle, things like that that you can get, that you can make a tea out of, that really supports those two, the liver and the kidneys, in starting to get efficient in dumping stuff that needs to move through the system. And if you continue to use those while you're doing a detox, they can be a major assistance to having the detox be successful. But getting the body acclimated to it and used to using them ahead of time is something that's really important. So you also want a slow cleanup of your diet, okay? You can't just jump from being a junk food junkie one day into eating a bunch of no junk and healthy food the next day and not expect to have some negative reactions in the body, okay? So sugar, junk food, alcohol, excessive caffeine, processed meats, seed oils, all of these things need to be gradually reduced or completely eliminated a few weeks before you start to do a detox, to give your body a chance to acclimate to the change that you're going to be asking of it. So then in the process, you'd want to do organic fruits and veggies for the best quality that you can find, or afford that way. Clean proteins, ones that preferably that are grass-fed, eggs that are high quality eggs, and just get that body where you're starting to fine tune that motor and get it to the point that you're going to have a successful detox when you ask that body to dig deep and get rid of some of the other things that have been, well, for example, I give the example to my clients that a lot of times the excess waste in the colon goes through the portal vein system. And when it hits the liver gets a little overloaded and it kind of has to pack those toxins away somewhere. And my phrase that I use is that it kind of packs them away into handy dandy suitcases. And that would be joints and fat cells. So think of how you can look at it. You can look at it that these steps with the colon, the steps with the liver, the steps with the kidney, the steps with the food, steps with the hydration, all of these things in preparation for a detox is really laying the groundwork so that your liver and your body can open those handy dandy suitcases and start to clean out some of those accumulated toxins. That's part of the reason sometimes that people, if they just decide they want to lose weight, for example, a lot of women I work with are like, I can't lose weight. I can't lose weight. I'm exercising. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I can't lose weight. And sometimes the reason is that they haven't done the prep work. They haven't cleaned up their diet. Their liver is still overloaded. And so it's still packing things into joints and fat cells. And the brain is basically saying, you're out of your mind. You're wanting to lose weight, but you're putting in what I got to pack on. So that's a very simplified explanation of it, but oftentimes there is a basic truth to it. So this whole cleanup aspect that we're talking about before a detox is really valuable. So the junk food, eating the better food. And then another one is maximizing your sleep schedule. This can kind of be a difficult one, but it's really, really important. It's important to do this ahead of time because your body is going to need time to repair. So you want to do it before the detox, carry it through the detox, and preferably keep it after the detox because it's actually a very healthy routine and habit that benefits the body as a whole and should be maintained. And so try to establish a routine, getting to bed a little bit earlier. And one thing that's really important is to cut out all screen time about an hour before bed. We're talking phones, laptops, tablets, computers, TVs, anything like that. Go back to some regular light bulb light and read a book, or just meditate, do some stretching, whatever, about an hour before bed. Get into that routine and habit, and you will be helping your body for the rest of your lifetime, not just through detox periods. Another one is managing stress. This can possibly be one of the harder ones. In a pre-detox setting, you would want to maybe take some walks outside. Even a 10-minute walk is beneficial. Now, I'm not talking about a 10-minute walk where you take the dog, you've got your phone in your pocket, you've got your headphones on, you're playing music, you got a friend, you're talking to a friend. That is not a de-stressing walk. I'm talking about a silent walk, 10 minutes or more, where there is no conversation, no talking, no music, no phone, unless you're carrying it just on emergency in case somebody has to call through. A silent, peaceful walk outside, breathing deep, walking. This can be so helpful for stress in the body and just be a really good pre-detox, during detox, post-detox habit to form. And the longer, the better. Start with 10 minutes. See if you can do that. There's a lot of benefits to that. Even a 10-minute walk after eating encourages the muscles to do an uptake of the glucose that you have eaten so that it's not going into your bloodstream. So there's a lot of benefits to that post-meal, pre-bedtime walk that you can take to help with stress. Meditation, even journaling can be beneficial. So these are just some of the things that you want to think about weeks before detoxing in order to have a successful detox. So is detox, rebuild, regulate, restore, is it important? Yes. But how can you really kind of hedge your bets and get better results from what you're going to put so much effort, time, and hopefully good results into? It's by preparation. It's by your pre-detox timing. It's by the habits. So once again, I want you to just think about supporting your bowels, supporting your lymphatics, really, really good hydration. I want you to support your liver and your kidneys. Clean up your diet some before you start a detox. Get rid of some of the junk food, the sugars, seed oils, incorporate some new healthy foods and make a habit that's going to continue out of them. And then maximize your sleeping schedule to be to your benefit. And then cut out the screen time and start doing some walking. Start doing some silent walking. Even if you've got an active weightlifting gym routine, swimming at the gym, bicycling, whatever, you can't imagine the benefit of every day getting into a 10-minute silent walk. After meals is awesome. Another time that's really good is to get that early morning sun, because that early morning sun has a lot to do with your circadian rhythm, your pineal gland, your sleep, everything. So here's just a few helpful hints from Be Happy, Be Healthy, Be Your Best. Once again, I appreciate your time with us and look forward to the next episode.